Okay, I've got a special guest here. Attorney General Miyares. He came here today to Shenandoah County. We talked to the Chamber of Commerce and talked to business leaders here in Shenandoah County. And I grabbed him for just a few minutes before he heads down the road. And I guess we don't really have a lot to talk about today, but a few things that are on top of mind for me. I know my daughter, she's 19, and I was a big Charlie Kirk fan, and that's just happened this past week with his assassination. And it just seems like to me, I don't know what your thoughts are, if you have any thoughts on the political discord and the violence that we're seeing right now.
I mean, I think that what I found most remarkable about Charlie Kirk's death was, first of all, he wasn't murdered about the Second Amendment. He was murdered about the First Amendment.
Right.
He was going on a college campus to express ideas and debate, and it is utterly remarkable for me. And you hear this sometimes for those on the far left. They'll use words like they'll say words are violence. Mm-hmm. I never could understand that, but I thought that once Kirk was assassinated, that they were now using violence to silence words. And what I thought was the most remarkable with Kirk's murder was Charlie Kirk had no political power in any official sense. Right. He was not a legislator. He wasn't a governor. He wasn't a mayor. He signed no law into effect. He made no laws. And so they silenced him over his ideas. And that is a really dangerous, slippery slope, I think. You know, if you know my background, my family fled Cuba, right. And my mother saw what happened in a society that suddenly ideas mattered more than the dignity of people. And I remember asking her, this was before the Kirk murder, but I did ask her, like, how did Cuba become this basically island of despotism? And when Fidel Castro took power in Cuba, Cuba had the same GDP as Greece. The year Fidel Castro died, Cuba had the same GDP as Sudan. So socialism doesn't work, folks, no matter where it's tried. But she said, when Fidel took power, he promised to restore democracy to Cuba. He failed. And then he took over the universities and the media, silenced all dissent, and everybody in society got labeled one of two categories, oppressor or oppressed. And she said, you can always justify great evil if you're doing it on behalf of the quote-unquote oppressed against the oppressor. And I'm shocked at Charlie Kirk's murder. I'm also shocked at the number of people that have failed the most basic test of humanity and decency, including people that are in education, that are elected. We had the chair of the Chesterfield School Board cheer it on. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a UVA law student just this past weekend who she shared with me how despondent she was that the number of her classmates that were gleeful about this, they were cheering it. That is a very, very dangerous slope where people suddenly decide we're no longer going to debate ideas. We're not going to settle this at the ballot box. We're going to settle this at the end of a gun. That is horrific. And I reject any and all forms of political violence, no matter who it is, against who it is. It is absolutely wrong to rob and look at your fellow American made in the image of their creator with amazing worth to view them as you're not worth living because I don't like your ideas. That is a horrific place to be at right now.
Right. I mean, I've been doing this. This would be my 40th year in law enforcement. And so I've been around Virginia law enforcement for a long time. And I think local law enforcement tries to get it right. Yeah. I think all of Virginia law enforcement, quite frankly, tries to get it right. And been around local government for a long time, too. But, it was very, very hurtful when I saw that and it happened to someone, like you say, that was just basically answering a question.
Well, and I do think,
their opinion.
I do think we have these dates that come and go in American society. We live in such quick increments. But, I say December 4th, 2024, that was a red letter date in American history, modern American history, and that was the date that Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, was murdered in broad daylight in New York City. And it wasn't the fact that he was murdered. Tragically, that does happen in New York regularly. It was our reaction to it. It was why he was murdered.
Right.
And when they polled young people, 81% of America's young people said they had a negative view of Brian Thompson, who was the victim of a murder. 48% of America's college students said the murder was justified. Now think about that. These are our college students.
Right.
These are our future lawyers, reporters, elected leaders, judges. Roughly half of America's college students think murdering a business CEO because you don't like how he's running his company is justified. That just should give everybody breath of, wow, we have a real problem. There's a poll that came out right before Charlie Kirk's murder that said roughly 34% of America's college students say it's okay to use violence to silence the voice on a college campus you don't agree with. That is a really dangerous position, and that really goes to show you what's happening, I think, in education right now, that it is producing, I think one of your first jobs in education, just produce good citizens of the Republic.
Right.
When you're producing that many that are seeing this violence as an acceptable way of resolving differences, it's a really difficult spot. But you're right, our local law enforcement, our sheriffs, rightly so. When you get a 911 call, you don't check what their political affiliation.
Right.
You're there to help, right?
They're there. Yeah, I tell people we're not there because we want to interfere in their lives. We're there because we're needed.
Yeah.
And not to we'll go to another subject, but I mean, as far as our viewers are concerned, just want to thank you for the programs that you've been involved with our office, the Virginia Rules Camp. This is a camp that we've had here in Shenandoah County, our Triad program, which benefits our seniors in Shenandoah County and your staff and the help that they've given us there. Can't say enough about what you guys have been doing under your leadership and with the staff that you have as far as outreach goes here in our community. Any programs or anything that you would like to touch on while you're here?
We're really proud in the Attorney General's office. I said, we're going to be the people's protector and that the Virginia's safety was going to be our mission. And when I took office, our murder rate was at a 20-year high. Our violent crime rate was at a 30-year high. Our addiction death rate was the highest we'd ever seen. And we've seen a real remarkable turnaround. It's amazing how if you work with law enforcement instead of against law enforcement, you can do great things. We went after violent repeat offenders in some of our most violent cities. Have seen a huge drop in the murder rate, double-digit drop in the violent crime rate. But then on the addiction deaths, we both have sued some of the big pharmaceutical companies that drove OxyContin into our communities, led to so many of our friends and neighbors getting caught in the cycle of addiction by accident, and then tragically graduating from OxyContin to heroin and then fentanyl, holding them accountable, suing them for how they've abused this system, and over $1.5 billion that in judgments. That's money that goes to treatment.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't go to our office. We work to the General Assembly. It goes to local government for treatment, and then we gave grants, the abatement authority, to treatment centers to get people back on their feet. We prosecuted enough fentanyl out of my office to have that would have off the streets. It would have killed 7 million Virginians. And so we went on the supply side and the demand side, launch One Pill Can Kill, to make sure our young people know how dangerous fentanyl is. So, it was really proud for me to be able to ask, along with Governor Youngkin, to go up to DEA national headquarters earlier this year, to be able to announce that Virginia was not top 10, not top 5. We were the number one state in the country in the drop in addiction deaths. More than double the national average was the drop. And so people have said that Virginia really is the model in many ways, but that's really because we have great partners, local sheriffs like yourself all over the state, local police have been incredible partners as we've kind of locked arms together to fight this modern scourge. So I want to just thank you for that. Your great work.
Thank you.
Keeping the folks in Shenandoah County safe. They really are blessed by the team they have here, and I just want to thank you for your great work and partnership.
Thank you. And one last thing, when I was researching before you came, the work that you've done to help veterans, I'm a veteran, and the work that you've done as the Attorney General for the Commonwealth of Virginia, I appreciate the work that you've done for veterans. Yeah,
we had to go all the way to the Supreme Court to get a ruling to protect our veteran benefits. We're still fighting. We're never going to stop fighting. I mean, Virginia is a special place for so many reasons. I mean, the day I'm talking to you, it's one of those absolutely gorgeous September days in Shenandoah County where it's like something out of the Garden of Eden. I love Virginia in the fall. It's just an amazing place. but it's really the people. And I've said before, Virginia is ultimately so blessed by the fact that we have such a influx of military installations here, highest concentration of active duty and retired military of any state in the country. And what that means is you bring some of the best people from all over the country to live in Virginia, that they've come to Virginia, they've been stationed in Virginia, they choose to stay. By the way, we want to encourage that and make sure that your retirement's not taxed. But what that means is you have incredibly patriotic, noble people that have served their country that don't care who you are, what your background is. They don't care what your race or ethnic origin is at all. They believe in meritocracy as our military does. And so they have this great mindset, a can-do mindset. And so I'm from Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads. We have a huge number of defense there. But I think it is so added to the richness of what Virginia is. So I'm always honored to stand with our veterans. So thank you for your words.
Yes, sir. Well, again, thanks so much. I know you're on a tight schedule. I really appreciate your time coming in here and chatting with us today. And thank you for all of your accomplishments and all of the service that you've given the Commonwealth of Virginia.
We'll keep fighting.
Look forward to working with you for many years.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.